Hi, it's Kristen, and it's time for another book haul. This is going to be like my spring book haul, I guess. My birthday is in the beginning of May, so some of these books were bought for me for my birthday as presents, and some I may have bought myself as presents to myself from myself. So let's just get into it. So to start with, one of my dearest friends got me three comic graphic novels. We always tend to end up buying each other like fandom-y, nerdy kind of stuff for birthdays and Christmases and things. So he got me three Marvel graphic novel comic bind up things. So to start with, we have Captain America, Iron Man, Civil War, which I'm very excited about. Obviously, I know the movie, so it'll be interesting to see what differences there are. I'm a big Marvel fan, but I'm mostly know about Marvel through the MCU. I've read a couple of Marvel comics in my time, but really only a couple. And I know some of like the big stuff that happens in the comics throughout the years, but not a huge amount. So I'm definitely interested to get into them more through this medium. Then we have Thor's, which again I'm very excited about. Thor is one of my favourite Marvel characters, and this has like several different variations, I'm guessing, judging from the artwork here and the fact that it's called Thor's. So I'm excited about this. And then lastly, we have all new, all different Avengers, the Magnificent Seven. So this one I'm really intrigued by because I can already see like a couple of characters that I'm familiar with and that I love, like Vision and Ms. Marvel, which I'm very excited about seeing more of her, and eventually the show and then the Marvels movie. But there's also a couple of characters that I don't recognise, or they look familiar but I don't know like what their name is, what their powers are. So I'm excited about this one. So that's really nice. I don't have any Marvel graphic novels or anything like that, so this could be the start of a collection. Thank you very much to my best friend for that. Then my sister got me a book, which I was very surprised by because she always judges me on how big my TBR is and how I shouldn't buy any more books until I've got through that, which she may be right. But I just love buying books. So she got me Difficult Women, A History of Feminism in 11 Fights by Helen Lewis. She knows that I enjoy feminist nonfiction. We are both feminists, we both read these kinds of books. And she said this sounded really up my alley, which I agree with. So it's all about women who have made history because they've done rebellious things, they've become activists, joined movements and all that kind of stuff. So this one sounds very interesting. I had never heard of it before, and neither had she. I will say we then sort of like gave it a quick search on the internet, and I have seen some reviews that are questioning or critical of the way that Helen Lewis talks about, I believe it's sex work in here, and how she seems to look down on sex work. And her questionable way of talking about stuff to do with gender and trans issues. So I'm definitely going to go into this with a critical eye towards those things of how she discusses those issues, because I think there's a big problem with a lot of well-known feminists, especially in Britain, who don't take into consideration trans issues and who are sometimes just straight up transphobic. and also the high profile feminists who don't include sex work in their, or like opinions on sex work in their feminism in a positive way, and they think it's just like a bad thing flat out. So I will read this and I will go into it with that knowledge of those criticisms in mind, not to say like I'm just going to make up my own mind, because obviously those are things that I'm not trans and I'm not involved in sex work, so I can't speak on those things. So it's more important for me to listen to those criticisms from people in those communities. So I will have a perusal of this with that in mind, and I'm sure my review will reflect that. But yes, that's what I got next. No shade to my sister, she didn't know about those things. I'm still interested to read about these fights, but yeah, we'll keep those criticisms in mind. Next up are the books I bought myself. So first of all, these were all on sale for like various different amounts, pretty much, on Waterstones, and I had some points on like my card, so I thought I would treat myself. First up, I got The Vanishing Half by Brit Bennett. This one I've heard nothing but good things about. I believe it's about two twins who grow up in a southern black community. They come from a black family, but as they get older they move away, and one of the sisters decides to live as a black woman, and the other one decides to live as like someone who's white passing. So it's about like the two different approaches to their identity and everything that stems from that, like the next generations with their kids and their families. It sounds really interesting, so I'm excited to get to this one. Then we have Writers and Lovers by Lily King. This one is just a beautiful shade of blue. This one is about a woman who feels very lost in life. She has writer's block. She is surrounded by friends who are getting married and having kids, and she's like not there in her life. And then she meets two different men, and I believe it's sort of like one of those, she's torn between them. They both like promise very different lives. I enjoy books about young women. Normally these books I think are about women in their 20s, but I believe she's in her 30s, 31, early 30s. I really enjoy books about young women who feel very lost in their lives. Couldn't possibly relate. So this one I'm very intrigued by. Also, I myself really enjoy writing, so interested to read like that aspect of this as well. So excited for this. Excited about all these books. Next up we have Legendborn by Tracy Dion. This one, again, I've heard nothing but good things about. On my Goodreads, a lot of the people I follow have given this like 5 stars. I, upon buying it, didn't know anything about it other than it was female-led fantasy, which I'm always in the mood for, want to get back into reading more of. So this is about a girl called Bree who's 16, and she joins a residential program for bright young high schoolers, and then there is a magical attack on the very first night that she's on campus. A mysterious mage who calls himself a Merlin. This is a King Arthur retelling. I did not know that. Yes, straight up here. Okay, so there's a group of people called Legendborn who have that magic, and they reveal themselves as the descendants of King Arthur's knights and foretell a magical war. Okay, I did not know that this was a King Arthur retelling, but now I do, and now I'm even more interested. Although it's not particularly following the original tale, I was obsessed with the BBC show Merlin when I was younger. So I want to get back into the King Arthur goodness. This is going to be the first book in a YA fantasy series, so I'm very intrigued. Finally, we have a book that I saw Riley Marie talk about a lot in her like on her channel in general, but especially in her books about her favorite romance books. I think she said this is like her point blank favorite historical romance book, and that is Never Seduce a Scot by Maya Banks. So in Never Seduce a Scot, we have got a young woman who is forced into an arranged marriage, which, if done well as a trope, I can really enjoy. And she is set to marry this Scottish warrior. I believe that she can't hear things, but when she meets this guy, she realizes that his voice is so deep that she can like sort of feel the vibrations of his voice, which intrigues me. I do like that actually this and the past historical romance I read, which was Romancing the Duke by Tessa Dare, both have main characters who are disabled. So obviously in this one, Eveline is deaf, and in Romancing the Duke, the love interest was blind, which I think is really great. We need more disabled representation in books. Of course, books about being disabled, but also just like generally. I feel like in conversations to do with representation, whilst every form of representation is of course so important, I feel like disability representation often gets left out of those kinds of conversations. So I'm very much excited to read this one. I love a good romance. The last book I read had like a lot of romantic elements to it, and it's put me in such a mood for romance, so I might have to get to this one sooner rather than later. I know a lot of people don't like mass market paperbacks, but when it comes to romance books, I actually quite enjoy this size. I like the feel of it. That's just a personal preference. So yes, other than the fact that these two characters are made to marry for, I'm sure, some sort of political alliance, I don't really know anything about this, but I'm sure they slowly fall in love. I'm guessing is pretty much the plot of this. So I'm very, very excited to get to this one. And that is it. I have also pre-ordered a book, but it's not out until later in the summer, so I think if I maybe buy more books before then, I will include that in a book haul later in the year, but that is also one that I'm very excited and interested in. So that is everything. 3 graphic novels that I'm very excited about, a non-fiction I am intrigued by, and then 4 fiction books which I am very, very looking forward to reading. And that is everything. Thank you for watching. If you've read any of these and you want to tell me about them, that you enjoyed them, please feel free to comment below. If you know any books that are similar to some of these that you think I would maybe also be interested in, feel free to let me know. If you read any of these and didn't like them, maybe don't let me know, because I want to keep my excitement. But yes, that is it for this video, and I will see you soon with another one soon. Bye!